Surely they did. But it was this safe spaces, right? I was the one out of 30 students on the student council. It was 30 of us, the associate students of UCSD. I was the one vote against safe spaces. And when I casted my one vote against, every head, including the camera, whoosh. I was on the paper. They took a picture of me on the paper. There was all this attention because I said, no, what do we say? Like, the idea of college is to not have a safe space intellectually, right? You're not in fear of being physically hurt. So knock it off. So the next thing is your fear of what? Ideological challenges. Tough shit. You're at college. So I was
that's
very.
What the world's about. You're gonna have your views and perspective challenged.
Good luck going into the real world and then trying, being in a work environment and hearing somebody say something. You're gonna lose your shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna have no way or tools or techniques on how to grapple with that, which you would have learned by having those raw experiences in school, which you decided to shield yourself from.
Yeah.
And that that's causing ripple effects in how we as Americans look at each other. It's like, no, most people are pretty Karl Marx, Howard Zinn on the United States. If you know who Howard Zinn is.
No.
He's an American historian who basically articulated American history solely from the perspective of the oppressed.
Got it.
So it is a helpful perspective to understand power dynamics, and how a lot of it is like immature in its approaches, but it also shows that this philosophy is embedded in a lot of people today. This sincere hatred for the United States, and there are people out here that want to see it burn for its past sins. And Howard Zinn spoke a lot to justifying that sentiment.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people refer to Marxism as a religion, right? Because if we think about politics, it's up here. Religion, theology is down here. So when you start to think like, well, wait, like, black only dormitories, like, isn't that a full 180 from like what we've done before? Like, that kind of just sounds racist today, not letting a white person do this or that. Like, isn't that just racist? And they're like, well, no, it's not racist because, and then they go down some mumbo
white
jumbo.
people can't be racist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole intersectional hierarchy and all that. But the more I studied,
black people can't be racist.
Yeah. So the more I studied, Marxism, the more I understood, like, yeah, it is a deeper level theology on how people, like, presuppositions of the world and what the world is about. And when we think about how that looks at the United States, we can all agree the United States is the most powerful entity that's ever lived and currently exists, right? Even if it's not heading in the right direction in our view, it's still extremely powerful. How the Marxists view the world is powerful equals bad, weak equals good. And you're like, okay, like, this is starting to make sense now. So every time you talk to, a progressive about the United States, they're like, oh, the United States was built on the back of slaves. And it's just like, the only reason we're powerful is because we exploited other people and raped other women and fucking all this crazy shit. And it's like, what the hell? It's like, okay, so I'm just going to make a note on that. Then we go over here and look at, Israel and Gaza. It's like, okay, what's going on here? And I've heard actual, like, popular, leftists, like there's a Dennis Prager video where he reviews a video from Trevor Noah, Trevor Noah, the South African guy. Yeah. So it was like 2 years ago, and he's talking about like, I don't get what people are so confused about Israel and Palestine. Like, Israel has resources and guns and an army, and the Palestinian people, live in, bad conditions. They don't have blah, blah, blah. So it's like, this is a no-brainer. Like, Israel's the oppressor. And I'm rephrasing it a bit, but it's like, wow, this starts to make sense where people look, and I've had my arguments with a lot of people about Israel, Palestine, and I'm not fucking Jewish. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Muslim. Like, I'm
no skin in the game.
No skin in the game. I'm just a fucking American, right? And I'm arguing with these people, and they just can't accept. They're like, well, the Palestinians don't even have an army. So how could this be a fair fight? And it's like, that's actually not the argument. It's like, I agree with you. Israel has more power than the Palestinian people. That doesn't mean if Hamas puts a GoPro on their chest, bombs a couple, schools, and then rapes a bunch of women and celebrates for it, that's not a good thing. Like, that's not a freedom fighter. No. You know what I mean? And they start to rationalize